All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Dissecting Tyrone, the podcast. This right here is going to be an introduction to who we are, what we do, what the podcast is about, where the name came from, all that good stuff, and just kind of telling you about what we're doing. To start with, I'm Jason,
I'm Brandon.
and we are the host, the co-host of Dissecting Tyrone. One big question that I get all the time is Dissecting Tyrone. What does that mean? Like, where does that come from? And yes, it comes from the old Erica Badu song, You Better Call Tyrone. In that song, her boyfriend was cheating on her and she wanted to kick him out. And she basically told him to call Tyrone, call your friend and tell him come get you because you got to get out of here. Over time, I believe that name Tyrone became synonymous with cheating. Even though he wasn't the cheater, it was like if a man was cheating, the first thing a woman would say is, you better call Tyrone. So from my point of view, from our point of view, Tyrone was more of the misunderstood good guy in the equation that really had nothing to do with it, but got tied into the cheating. So to me, Tyrone is the misunderstood good guy in the situation, and that's what the podcast is about. It's about the thought process of the misunderstood man. So that's where the name comes from. As far as what we're going to talk about, Brandon, you want to cover that?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, this podcast is two dope dads. We came together. We got a lot of content in our minds we've been through and had a lot of experience in our lives. And I think it's one of those things that you're going to get a little bit of therapy. We're going to get some therapy. It's going to be some laughter. It's going to be some serious moments, and everything in between. But I believe this is a podcast that's definitely needed for the people. And it's about bringing us together and having a good time.
I agree 1,000%. And plus, man, I have a lot of people that ask me, I know you do as well, for advice and our opinions on things. And, sometimes people want the opinions or the thoughts of somebody that they respect and that they know is just a good dude who's trying to be good. So I think that's an important aspect. Another question that was asked, I got a little list over here about the questions. Who is the podcast for? My point of view, I think it's for anybody. I think it really can be for anybody of any age, of any gender. I mean, granted, we're going to be coming from a man's perspective, but later on when we start having guests on the show, we'll have women and different people and different topics. And again, I think a lot of the things go hand in hand. So a lot of things about relationship and dating and things like that that anybody can relate to. So I really think the podcast is for anybody. Brandon?
No, I definitely agree. And you may hear us with interjecting in some politics. It might be some sports, some current events, things of that nature. But overall, like I said, it's geared towards our perspective from the black man's perspective. Like Jason mentioned, it's for anybody coming from our perspective. Two dope black men in this world, and we just want to be able to give you some food for thought as we move forward in these crazy times.
Another question we got: what can the listeners expect? I think we covered that earlier with the question about what the podcast is going to be about. But in general, I think you can just expect two men being authentic about what we think and what we feel. One thing I do want to make mention of is we're going to be talking about our life experiences. And both of us have over 40 years of life experience. So Omaha's small. People know each other. I really don't want people to get into who's that story about or I wonder what that situation they're talking about. Instead of doing that, let's think about the lesson that can hopefully be learned or from the situation or why we're bringing it up. Also, I've had a lot of relationships in my life. So if I'm talking about a relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean it was my past marriage. It doesn't mean it was the girl I was dating 2 weeks ago. If I'm talking about a friendship, it doesn't mean it was, Bam, my best friend, or Tony, or Brandon. It doesn't mean it's those people. So I think if you focus on what that story is about or who it's about, you're gonna really miss some gems or some good conversation that could be had.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think at the end of the day, we all have some type of baggage, whether it's a small duffel bag or 5 suitcases and everything in between. I think at the end, like what we need to do as men is be able to have a safe space to get our feelings off and be able to, again, like I said, I always equate things with laughter because you got to sometimes laugh to get through the pain, but we also address and we're also being transparent without trying to put anybody on Front Street. We just want to be able to give our perspective and help somebody out who's out there going through something as well.
And you got to keep in mind, man, in order for this to work, we have to be able to be vulnerable. We have to be able to open up. I'm pretty much everybody that knows me knows I'm an open book by nature. I plan on being that throughout this whole podcast. But what a derail that is if the city gets to talking about, oh, look what he said about, Joe, or look what he said about Tammy, and you're more focused on the gossip of it when there's really no gossip to be had. Like I said, this is just us sharing our experiences in our life. Nobody is going to be put on blast. I don't plan on using any names on situations. So again, just because you might think you know a situation does not mean that's who I'm talking about or the situation at hand.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
The last thing is, how can you connect with us? Well, naturally, you'll be able to connect with us on the podcast. So that'll be the biggest way. We're going to have all channels covered. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you can connect with us on that. Also, our plan is our episodes will be pre-recorded. Later on, we'll probably do some live episodes, but initially they'll be pre-recorded. But we plan on being in the comment section when these episodes drop. We plan on dropping bi-weekly. And so it'll be 2 a month. And when they drop, we'll be in the conversations. We'll be in the comments and talking to people and, getting feedback and getting other people's opinions on it. And maybe those are things we'll share on the next episode, or if we do continuations about it.
Right. And I know once we start getting on Facebook or Instagram, there's always going to be the trolls. We'll try to address it to the best of our abilities that we can. But like I said, there's always going to be all love. At the end of the day, people in life, you're going to have supporters. You're going to have people who don't want to see you win. But our goal is to just provide a space for everybody to win, be able to talk freely, and, move about and do what you need to do.
Definitely. Anyway, I think that covers everything. I'm excited, definitely excited to get this started. Looking forward to hearing whatever people have to say about it, getting the feedback about it, growing as a podcast. Again, just because this is where we start today doesn't mean we'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to grow and be better and be different.
Let's go. Let's get ready. I'm excited myself, and it's a lot that's coming in store, and I hope you guys really enjoy this.
Definitely. We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.